Hey, Mr. Fitz here, hope you're going well. This short video we're going to look at the first and basic operation on the lathe called facing. So here is a piece of material and we are going to face the end of this, which is going to mean to cut a nice clean face on the end. So when you're starting off on a lathe, you're going to need to get some tools. This is called a chuck key. This operates the chuck by this square pattern here. Really important whenever you're using the lathe for safety, never leave the chuck key in the chuck and walk away. We're fortunate here we've got this guard on our machines, but a lot of lathes don't use these, so if for some reason you forget and leave the chuck key in and you turn the machine on, guess what's going to happen? This is going to go launching across the room and could very badly injure yourself or someone else. So never leave that in the machine. Just turn it to tighten your work and then take it off. You're going to also need this basic wrench, spanner and wrench, and this is going to be used for adjusting various parts of the lathe. So put your work in. Okay, so put your work in, close the jaws of the chuck, and make sure your work is centered. You don't want it to be held between two teeth of the jaw. Nice and tight. I tend to like to tighten one side, rotate to the next hole and tighten slightly as well. Don't over tighten because you can damage your work. Alright, next for facing, it's really important to know the position of your cutting tool. So the position I've got this now is perfect for facing. If I bring this up to my work, we're going to have a look at the angle of my tool. So for facing, you're going to want to between anywhere from 30 to 40 degrees on this incoming angle here of the tool. So this is going to make sure that we're cutting with the very end of the tip of the cutting tool, and when we cut we're going to be moving our tool out towards the operator, and then here the very tip is going to be cutting the material. Next thing that's really important, we need to set up the center of our cutting tool. So to adjust our cutting tool, we can loosen the tool post, and this actual tool holder slides in and out and around, so you have 360 degree operation of the cutting tool. It's really important that we cut from the center of the part. I'll show you why in a minute. I'm just going to get this roughly set up and make a cut, and I'll show you why it's important to cut from the center. Get your angle right, tighten this up. Now, I'm going to do a quick cut on the face of this, turn the machine on. Now, using my compound slide wheel, I'm going to wind this in to the max. Just going to slide my carriage over. I'm going to make a shallow cut on here, and I'm going to wind out my cross slide to start cutting. You'll notice that this piece of material has a very bad angled face on it, so I'm going to do a couple of cuts. So I'm going to do cuts at 0.2 millimeters on the dial, so 1.8 to 0, and I'm going to wind it out, making my cut, wind it in, back to the center. Now again, I've set my depth, 0.2, I wind it out, all the way out, and all the way in. Once I get back to the center, I repeat the process. So I take a cut at 0.2, my cross slide out, make my cut, bring it back to the center. You'll notice now that I've got a fair bit of swarf, which is the cuttings, on my cutting tool. That gets in the way. You need to stop the machine. Make sure that you stop the machine. You want to take the cutting tool out of the way and clear that off. Never do this with the machine running, it's very dangerous. And likewise, this is plastic, but if this was metal, it's best to use a brush to get that off of the cutting tool. Now you see here, I've started to face my part. I still have some rough areas on here to face, but you notice I've got a bit of a pimple in the middle of my work here. This is due to the fact that my cutting tool is not set up in the center of my part. So you can try and do this by eye. If you're off, you can loosen and try and adjust to get the center of the cutting tool to the center of your work. And the better way to do it, if you want to be really accurate, is to get what we call a center drill or a live center. This is called a live center. This actually rotates at the end. So we use this on the tailstock. So back here over the machine, I can load this into the tailstock. This has what's called a Morse taper. It means I can just push this in hard and it grips and holds itself in place. Now if I move my carriage out of the way, just get this out of the way so I can see what I'm doing. I can move my tailstock all the way up to my work, and the tip of the live center is going to touch dead in the center of my part, because the center of the tailstock runs through the center of the whole lathe. So there's my center. So I can actually use this here as my reference. So if I loosen off my cutting tool, I can get my center based on touching it right on the tip of here. Now I obviously want to maintain this position, so what I can do is and replicate the height of the center with my cutting tool. What I suggest you do here is you tighten this reasonably tight. What you don't want this thing is to slip up and down to lose your height. Move your tailstock back, move your carriage back, and then you can rotate this in place without losing the height. So bring it back to that angle, about 30 to 40 degrees. Tighten. Now I should be back at the center for my cut. If you do this correctly, you should remove that little pimple. Like I said, in most cases you can do this as best as you can by eye, but if you want to be really accurate, you can bring in the tailstock and the live center and get a better center. Alright, that's facing in a nutshell. So let's repeat the process one last time. Setting at depth using the compound slide, starting in the center. So set your depth and use your cross slide, moving out to cut and in, back to the center. Set your depth, go out and back into the center. Get right in the center, you should notice that little pimple should disappear. The more accurately you're in the center, the better finish you'll get. And then I go to the center. Alright, that's good. Still got a slight little dag on the end here, but that's almost flat. There you go. That's facing. Basics of facing.